So, this is another Patreon request, and this one comes from Alistair Boneman, who this is one of the two requests he sent me. The other one is actually a review of a comic that, believe it or not, actually was sent to me by the Mount Vernon kid as part of the package, but I haven't gotten around to reading it yet. It's only the first volume, but I do plan to read that at some point and basically kill two birds with one stone. So don't worry, Alistair, I am going to be getting to that comic at some point. I just need to get through the others. So yeah, this was the other request he asked me to do, and as always, if you'd like to have a movie request, if you would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, and hit the 4th tier. Yeah, so let's get started, and this is going to be a little interesting because this, this is going to be interesting because this is actually, for lack of a better word, this is me kind of explaining why we're doing something in the Infinityverse, the shared fanfiction universe. My good friend Jason and I, Jason Voorhees 2011 and I do together as a shared fanfiction universe. And yes, I know people keep asking about it. Don't worry, we haven't forgotten it. It's just the chapter for Dark Phoenix, which is the end of Act 1, is a really big chapter. A really big chapter. So we're putting a lot of effort into it, so we are still continuing with it, and also we don't get paid for this, and I'm trying to write a whole ass novel, so you'll fucking forgive me if I'm a little slow on some things I don't get paid for. Anyway. So, but however, like I said, this is me kind of trying to explain something in the Infinityverse that I kind of mentioned, and that's basically we're having a pairing in the Infinityverse that Alistair kind of wanted me to kind of explain, and yeah. So basically, what this is, and I wouldn't have done this if it was gonna spoil some stuff in the future of the Infinityverse. And I know some people are already thinking, "Oh, I can ask him this, and he'd have to do as a request." Don't even try it because we got a lot of stuff we don't want to spoil. So, but this didn't really spoil anything because I did talk about it already. So yeah, and that is the future crossover pairing of Brooklyn from Gargoyles and Kylie Griffin from Extreme Ghostbusters, and their pairing in the Infinityverse in the future. So why this? Like, why do this as a pairing? Well, it's kind of actually makes a lot of sense when you really think about it. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, but Brooklyn's not a human being. It doesn't make sense. Really? Because Eliza did get with Goliath. Do I need to explain that? Do I like that's already like the counter argument is already done because literally Eliza and Goliath become a thing in the end of season 2. Like, she full on kisses him. Go to Disney Plus, watch that episode of the end of season 2. I'm not lying. So, yeah, so that's not out of the realm of possibility. So that's already out of the way. Now, the reason why it really works for me is because, I think Kylie really would think Brooklyn is interesting, not just because, well, partially because, yeah, it's a gargoyle, and she's always into the paranormal and supernatural. So I think she'd look at first at, like, Brooklyn as, like, this interesting specimen. And Brooklyn would be like, yeah, I'm a very interesting specimen. I am a very fascinating specimen to be around. So that's kind of one of the major things to really look at with this, is that she would want to, like, get to know him, kind of study him a bit, but Brooklyn would be like, yeah, okay, you can do that. I also think their personalities would be really fun to play off of. Like, that's another major thing here, is that their personalities would be so much fun to really play off of one another. That was kind of another major reason here, was that Brooklyn is kind of strong-willed. He's very he can be brash sometimes, but also there's a reason why Goliath chose Brooklyn as the leader of the second in command if anything happened to him, because he knows when to, like, back off and be more reserved and be an actual leader. So that's kind of the thing you have to remember, and I think he would remember that too. And also Kylie's like, she can also be standoffish, she can be a little smart mouthed, and I'd love to just I'm already imagining like the banter to write for the two. Like that's kind of the other thing, is that there'd be so much fun banter between the two of them, like that kind of quippy smart aleck dialogue between the two. And I think also like Kylie would just love to test Brooklyn sometimes, like just kind of like, oh, let's see you do that. Like I'd love to see you try, or kind of like tease him a bit, and Brooklyn's just like, oh, gods give me strength. Like it's stuff like that, like the little things here and there for this relationship, you know. So I don't want to talk more on it because I kind of fear I'd probably spoil more. So you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of this pairing? Do you guys like it or hate it? As always, I'd like to thank Alistair Bowman for this request. Don't worry, I will get to Monstrous at some point. I just need to read the damn book. Although it will probably be just Volume 1 review. But yeah, as always, hope you all enjoyed this, and if, like I said before, if you would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, and hit the 4th tier where you can send me requests for videos. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.